That face this girl made at the end of the episode, thinking of what would happen if they held hands. The girl's fetish was just the icing on the cake that was episode 10. As you can see, we're going to be doing a triple review, so we're going to be talking all the way from episode 8 all the way to the latest episode with episode 10. Saw some people worried I dropped the show. No, been a little more busy, and you can also expect a double review for the last couple of episodes, because shit just be busy for me lately. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to talk about Devil's a Part-Timer, because it is a glorious show, production issues aside. Episode 10 was pretty much back up to what I wanted to see visually, though with episodes 8 and 9, I mean, yeah, the bear is the obvious, people memed a lot I saw, which understandably so. The big difference between memeing, I think, a show like this with its weird bear that Emmy yeets to the moon, which was pretty badass, I have to admit, versus other shows like, you could look at Golden Kamuy when it had its bear that got memed, is that in that show, it's a visually consistent show up until like some 3D models, where this season has been a rocky road, so I think it's more acceptable to criticize those extra visual shortcomings because there's been so many across the season. Though that said, the actual content I've quite enjoyed. I think episode 10 would be my favorite out of the batch because it feels more in line with my favorite aspect about Devil's a Part-Timer, and that is the devil adjusting to human society, and just the whole concept of buying a TV is like his biggest concern right now. One, because, well, he wants to be able to watch TV with his daughter, and if she's spending so much time over with her mother and she has a TV, well, he feels like he's lesser of a parent there, which is just a joke in of itself. The big thing is that he's essentially like knows nothing about the world because kids will come in basically asking about the Pokemon equivalent to their world, and he has no cultural knowledge. Yes, he could get a lot of that from the internet, but you can understand his desire to get a TV, and that entire situation was fantastic, and is basically the core entertainment for me about the Devil's a Part-Timer as a whole. The main story arc in terms of heaven and hell and the demon worlds and all that, I think that is an amazing extra element, but the most entertaining aspect about this show has always been how he adjusts. And while the whole Chief family farming storyline that we got over episodes 8 and 9, I quite enjoyed that, and I like the little thief angle. There's basically a horror scene at the end, I think it was episode 9, where the cars are getting torn into, cars are getting stopped. They basically look like demons to capture these thieves, and it was hilarious for that. But I like the simple moments when it's just the characters. You'll have characters like Alciel basically just saying, like, we can't afford it, and he's just against the idea of spending so much money, and then he eventually gets roped into it, and the whole points card situation was comedy gold, one of the funnier moments of season 2 if you ask me. But I think episodes 8 and 9 works quite well to just kind of further the connections in terms of both Chi and her family, the mystery of what these people are to them, and also you just get some more Emmy stuff with her mother, which now she is now locked onto, saying like, well, what the hell, why do people know my mother? Didn't even know she was around, didn't even know she still existed, and now everything's kind of come crashing down as all the characters are trying to adjust and accept that even if things can't stay like this forever, it's better that they stay like this for as long as possible. The train ride that we had in episode 10 with obviously Emmy as well as the other just pretty much was perfect because it represents that if it came to, Satan would probably pick his people over someone else, right? Because he is still king, they still listen to him. But if he stays on Earth, it's probably the best case for everyone because there will be no taking sides, and him having a mundane life in a world like this is without doubt the best case for the hero and everyone else. The biggest fear is obviously, well, how long can that last sort of a thing, and would there ever come a point where he wouldn't take their side over maybe the human realm or something like that? One of my favorite aspects about the prior couple of episodes is, you know, you look at it from Emmy's perspective and what she's lost and what obviously Mao and his people have done to her. The whole concept of like vegetation, like, you know, just the whole concept that he's doing that now after literally burning crops and destroying so many lives that she's known about, right? It's an interesting conundrum, right? Because the Mao we currently see is so different to the Mao he used to be in terms of being evil, all things considered. So it's interesting to see how they're propelling character motivations, how the cracks are starting to show where characters like Emmy truly are breaking away from that deep-rooted hatred, but also conflicting feelings for Mao because of all his current actions. You have Chi's love and everything like that, her still trying to land the finishing blow for her romance, and of course, someone like Mao just doing his day in and day out jobs, trying to fit into a world that he was never really born to be in. Like, in terms of the narrative and character interactions, it's been completely spot on this season, and while character models have been very inconsistent throughout this season, I still have just a grin on my face when I see moments from buying of the TV to the holding hands moment to the numerous times just characters would make such a funny face. But I also like how some of the smaller moments, or I shouldn't say smaller in the grand scheme of things, because like when characters like Gabrielle were on screen, that was a pretty big moment in terms of, oh shit, how the hell are you going to defeat this guy when it seems like he's about to rip our baby from us and everything's going to hit the fan. I like how they can reintroduce that, and it's a small element now because of the grand picture of where we're currently at. But I like the fact of just like casually going in, raiding the fridge after being such a menace earlier in the season, and having characters like Lucifer just be like, listen bro, I'm neat, it's more fun surfing the internet day in and day out, leave me the hell alone sort of a thing, as he kind of casually gives a gray thread of like, just keep yourself on your toes because the Watcher is out there even if I've been removed from the job because of my failure. I think this season has done a very good job at keeping it entertaining while propelling the story in natural ways. I've liked the adjustments from going to the beach, going to the farm, to going back to their apartment, and just seeing how it still feels like the core of what I've enjoyed about Season 1, but there's a lot more extra elements that I really find myself enjoying. I still personally prefer Season 1's presentation style in terms of character designs and everything, but I'm not one of those people who says, like, it's ruined my enjoyment of the season. It's just I have my preference, which is obviously acceptable. But I still find myself saying that it's more or less matching what I liked about Season 1. There's elements about Season 1 that I prefer, and there's elements about Season 2 that I prefer. Visually, I think Season 1's just my bread and butter, my cup of tea. But when it comes to where the story's at, character motivations are at, while still staying true to basically the comedy and the just character interactions, I find myself giving Season 2 a little bit of the edge. So for me, being a fan, waiting almost a decade for Season 2, I can't say from me anyway, even though I've seen a lot of people say Season 2 wasn't really for them, it missed the mark of what they've enjoyed. Obviously, depending on where you're talking, opinions can differ, but I have seen quite a few online over multiple weeks, not just recently, just over the entire season. They don't have the same level of passion that I do for Season 2, which is obviously a shame because I love talking more with people who enjoy the shows that obviously I like, but there still is a good cult following, it feels like, for Western speakers, like English speakers and things like that, and it's just a matter of how well it does across the globe in terms of how many seasons we will get of this. I know there's the rumor that it's planned to have a multitude of seasons, but obviously only time will tell. If they're there, I definitely will watch it. Just a matter of how I will review it, if it would be like batch reviews or full season reviews or something, but I think this show came out with a bang. I think there's funny moments like eating of the bear. Yes, maybe visually it could have been better, but there's so many core aspects about the past few episodes that it's just a blast, and I could easily see myself rewatching this season in the near future, but that's just me. But thoughts and feelings, whether on this latest episode of Buying the TV or the farm arc that we had in the prior couple episodes, do let me know your feelings and what you hope to see in the last couple. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. Till next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.